Okay, Daniel's asking if you have an extreme amount of egg cartons saved. Oh gosh, I can see where this is going. If you have an extreme amount of egg cartons saved, do you think that would be good to put on the wall with Tic Tacs behind the mic, or do you need to coat the whole room? Daniel, serious egg cartons and Tic Tacs. Am I supposed to answer that? Let's start from the very beginning. Seeing as this is the beginner's guide to all you need to know to start a podcast, let's look at something you can pick up a little bit cheaper than this one that comes in at usually $350 in the US. You can spend just over $99 and get yourself a really good USB microphone like this one, or like this one. This is a very popular choice. You might have seen this on a few podcasting desks yourself. These mics right here are USB microphones, and they are the easiest thing to use to start podcasting. You'll see all my preamps here, but I have just one that I use and recommend if you're using XLR in your podcasting setup, and that is this one down here. You can just about see it where I'm pointing to, the DBX286S. It essentially compresses your audio so that it keeps the volume levels very similar rather than going up and down, so really loud and really quiet, and just makes it sound uniform, which you need for your podcast listener. Because if they're listening in the gym, or if they're listening in the car or on the move, and everything around them is noisy, when you get really quiet, they won't be able to hear what you're saying. So compression evens that out. It's also got some equalization, and it's got a noise gate. Many podcasters, when they're getting started, will use software like Audacity, simply because it's free, it's open source, it's easy to download. You go to teamaudacity.org, download the file, and within seconds you've got an audio recorder on your computer that will record all the sound. Really, really easy. It's free. It's a perfect way to get started. These are two of my recommendations. I've used them both, so I recommend them with confidence. Zencastr, that's Zencastr without the E at the end. It's Zencastr, very trendy. And there's also Squadcast. So if you go and look them up in your favorite search engine and give them a go, what they will do is they will allow you to bring in a remote guest, and there's no messing about. So there's no go and download Skype and set up your audio interface and make sure it's working. It's just you give the other person a web URL. It's as simple as that. You just say, go to zencastr.com/myawesomepodcast episode 1. Or you just send that to them on email. And then they go there and you go there. And then you both appear in this little chat box online. And it's high quality audio. I mean, both of these companies focus on HD audio. That's why I can recommend them confidently. So it's kind of almost like they're in the room with you. Zencastr and Squadcast, really good stuff. But if you want to get sponsors, really the first thing you should be concerned about if you're just starting is getting at least 7 episodes out there, or 10 if you can. So record them in advance, get your topic titles so that you're all ready to go, build up a loyal audience, and then once you have that audience and you're growing that audience, the sponsors will come. It's a bit like YouTube. It's the same with YouTube. It's persistence, it's consistency, it's constantly doing your best, and the sponsors will come. Don't be too stressed about getting sponsors at first. I believe some of the big podcast providers like Acast give you options to monetize. I know Spreaker does as well. That's another podcast host service. So hopefully, Chew on This Media, this gives you an idea. But stick around with VidCon now, because they've got more coming up on that. Do you recommend planning out episodes with a guest before recording their episode? No, I absolutely don't. Now, others may differ on this, but I have a very strong opinion on this. I don't think you should do that, particularly if your guest is not used to being on a podcast and not used to being interviewed, because I think it'll just stress them out. It's like, let's talk about this, and the other. It's just, maybe send them some bullet points in advance. That often helps. Just say, listen, we're going to cover these points. We're going to cover, your history in doing this. We're going to cover why you do this. And then I'm going to ask you some questions that specifically relate to this aspect of your work. And that's about enough. Now, it's a different story if you're working with a co-host, so someone you work with every week. Then I do recommend planning things out because it really helps you to stay on topic and focused rather than rambling on about something, for 60 minutes when it could be a 20-minute episode. Basically, my big tip for you, Carla, is bullet points, and work from them. Do not script the whole episode out. It won't sound natural. Another thing is don't worry about silence.
Silence is often good, and it helps people to really focus on what you're saying. So don't feel like you have to rush through things. Often we feel under that pressure. I often feel under that pressure when I'm doing a live, particularly when I'm doing something live. But sometimes your audience just needs space.